Welcome to the Rock and Roll Time Machine. Our museum exhibit is situated in the Museum of Popular Culture, located in Seattle, Washington. The Mopop has its roots in rock and roll, making it the ideal location for the rock and roll experience. Here you can see, on level 3, our museum situated. Here's the layout of our museum. Our museum consists of 8 rooms, each marking a different decade in rock and roll history. We wanted to highlight these artists and bands by giving visitors a taste of what it would be like to experience them live in concert. Each decade has a featured artist performing via hologram. The sounds, sights, smells, tastes, and feelings are all decade specific. For example, you walk into the 1950s room and hear Chuck Berry's raging guitar solo to Johnny B. Good, and you experience him live in concert. For the purpose of constraint, we decided to focus on the Beatles room in the 60s and the Future room as our main designs. The Beatles were the most influential popular music group of the rock era. They affected the post-war baby boom generation of Britain, the United States, and many other countries during the 1960s. Certainly, they were the most... Upon entering the Beatles room, visitors are faced with the hologram Beatles performing live on The Ed Sullivan Show. As we continue on from the Beatles room, visitors experience Queen and Freddie Mercury's beautiful voice. They experience the 80s with Blondie. They experience grunge and basement rock and roll and Nirvana. And going on to Green Day, in the 2000s they experience punk for the first time. Going into 2010s they experience the new sound of the Alabama Shakes. And then they are prompted with the future. Welcome back to 2017. You have had a long journey through the history of rock and roll, but we aren't finished yet. It's now time to think about the future. This year's most critically acclaimed albums will mostly be made by pop stars, rappers, and people who work loosely under the category of R&B. Rock and roll's entries in the best of 2017 lists will undoubtedly come from legacy acts, some of which you just listened to and experienced. There's no doubt rock and roll's facing a fork in the road, and a crisis. In 2016, the iconic frontman for The Who, Roger Daltrey, stated this: "Rock is dead. Long live rock and roll. Rock has reached a dead end. The only people saying things that matter are the rappers. Rock and roll music today has been defined by death, resentment, and baby boomers making one." Welcome to the Future Room. Here you see 4-panel screens with visitors sitting down and watching the creations of other visitors that have came before them. To your left, you see the writing booth. A visitor can go in the writing booth and write out an answer to the question, what will rock and roll be like in the future? Here you can see a visitor writing out their answer. Next, we have the video booth, where visitors can go and record an answer to the same question. They can do it vlog style or however creatively they want. With a simple push of a button, visitors can send their video to the main screens outside, where other people can view their answers and listen to what they have to say about the future of rock and roll. Visitors can also visit the social media booth, where they can answer the same question in creative ways on social media using Twitter, with 140 characters or less. Here you can see a visitor tweeting out an answer that will be sent to the main screens in the gallery. Another booth that visitors can use to be creative in making the future of music is the beat booth. There they are able to go inside the booth, use an iPad and make a simple beat, or a complex beat. The final booth that visitors are able to use in the Future Room is the recording booth. Here, visitors are presented with a guitar, a piano, and an audio microphone that allows them to lay down simple tracks or complex tracks and create their own future of rock and roll. Once the visitors are done playing around in the booths, they're able to go outside into the Future Room gallery and watch their creations live, in action, on the big 4 screens. Upon exiting the Future Room, visitors encounter one last location, and it's the voting booths. We realized early on in our design process that music is subjective. Each room could have tens and hundreds of different artists and bands that have contributed to rock and roll. So the final thing that we do is give the visitors the power to vote and add the next artists and the next bands for this year's Rock and Roll Museum for the next month.